Welcome everybody for episode 4. I'm going to call it part 1 because Jason wanted to talk about something that apparently has been going on this week that I am completely oblivious to. This is going to be a blind reaction from me, based on whatever it is you got to talk about, dude. Because I don't have any idea at all of what this could possibly be.
And you wouldn't. I'm telling you right now, like it's been so. I'm just going to get into it, I guess, at this point, right? We might as well just kick it off. So, as I've mentioned the last couple episodes, my dad passed away. It would have been a week ago Monday, right? So the 22nd was a week. And, you know, you're dealing with all that grief, and it is what it is. And like, if for anybody that listened before, anybody that hadn't, you know, that it's kind of something we expected. So it was fine. It's still hard, but we were getting through it. So fast forward to Monday at 11:30 at night, my phone goes off for a text message. And I sleep with that do not disturb. So on Apple, I know you're an Android guy, and we'll talk about that one day, I'm sure. But on Apple, they have that do not disturb feature. So you have favorites in your phone. And if anybody from those text you or call you, it'll go through. But if it's not them, they have to do multiple things. So anyway, so it goes off. And I was having a hard time sleeping, and I heard it. So I knew it had to be somebody I knew. Is either it's not my wife. It's either somebody in family, somebody at work, or like Kara and Carl. Really is about it on that list. So
okay. Am I supposed to be offended by that?
No, not yet. We'll put you on it though. Now that this is kicking off, we'll get you there.
Just kidding. I really would not expect to be on that.
So I check it at 11:30, right? And it's a screenshot from my sister, and the message. All I get is a message from my sister 11:30, and the screenshot says, "Oh, so let me back up. So it's an Ancestry DNA screenshot." Okay. So the backstory to this part is my dad, for Christmas, we got him an Ancestry DNA thing. He wanted to know where he came from. He's kind of, I think he knew it was in the end. He was just curious what our heritage might have been because he didn't know his dad. He's adopted. So he said, what the heck? He was always talking about we got it for him. So he submitted it. I think in like the 26th, they submitted it. Well, the results
26th of December.
Gotcha. Okay. So the results had come in and my sister had not read the email. I guess that she knew it was there on Sunday, forgot about it. And then she checked it Monday night because her husband was like, hey, had you checked the Ancestry thing? Like, where's he from? Like, what's going on? Like, find out where you're from. Well, there's a message in the Ancestry DNA thing that says, and I'll leave the name out because it's not important for this right now. And we can talk about it again later. But so it says, hi, Robert, which is my dad. I'm such and such. I don't know how else to tell you this, but I'm your daughter.
What? What?
Dude. And it goes on. It says, you met my mom at a party in 1977 in AZ, and I was the result of it.
No way.
Dude,
no.
So it's long, and I could actually read it to you. If at one point I'll let you read the whole thing, but and it talks about how like she's not trying to, and it's a female, so it'd be my half blood sister, right? Yeah. And she's like, I'm not trying to ruin lives or anything. I found out she found out she was adopted at a late age when she did an Ancestry DNA test. She found out she wasn't related to her family.
Oh, she didn't know before.
She had no idea. So it's wrecked her world on her own end, right? So I'm reading this at 11:30, and I'm like, I have no idea what to think, right? Like, my dad has never, I don't know any of this, right? My dad's never said anything about any of this, and he's been passed away a week. So I'm immediately skeptical, like, okay, it's like, I don't know what they're coming after. Like, I mean, we ain't got no money, right?
I'm gonna get what you want.
There's like you might get a holy shirt. Like, that's about it. Like, you know, so I'm laying there and my wife rolls over and she goes, what's wrong? And I'm like, apparently I have a half sister. And she's like, what? And I'm like, just go to bed. I don't know. Like,
How do you go to sleep after getting that news?
Dude, I didn't. But my sister had texted me so late and I had to get up. I get up for work about 4:50, 5 o'clock, and it was 11:30, 12 o'clock. And I was already having a hard time sleeping. So I thought, okay, I'll deal with this in the morning. Like, I don't even want to respond because then my sister we'll start chit chatting back and forth and I'll never sleep. Well, I didn't sleep anyway, right? Like, this whole time I'm like, what does this even mean? So I toss and turn all night, get up, and my wife is getting up for work, and we're both like, I don't know. I'm going to spend all day trying to figure out what's going on. Because I looked at part of the other thing she had sent that I didn't pay attention to that night was it shows that the match for the person that reached out to my dad is a 50% DNA match, which can mean she's only a parent or a child.
Yeah.
Well, she was born in 1978, so she can't be a parent. My dad was born in 58. So she has to be a child. So like, I know that DNA is pretty exact. You can't really fake this. And Ancestry DNA has been doing all that for a while, but I am still like, no way. Like, there's just not possible. Like, I've never heard about anything like this. There's no way. So I call my brother. He gets up early for work, and I'm like, hey, did you see this? And he's like, he hadn't seen the message.
So your sister didn't send it to him?
He sent it to both, but it didn't wake him up. So he was just getting up, and he's like, I have no idea what's going on right now. So my sister, I'm like, screw it, we're calling her, right? She's got to be awake. And my little niece was up sick, so she was up anyway. So here we are at 5:30 in the morning, and we're trying to figure out, like, I don't know. And so unbeknownst to me, my dad had always joked about having another daughter, kind of messing around as a joke. But there's stories that go into this person that the mom's name is Renee. That's the story from him as a kid. And I guess my sister was kind of familiar with it because towards the end, he started telling stories about things, but you never really knew like what he was. I mean,
how
he didn't know he had a kid for sure.
Yeah.
So anyway, so my sister messages the Ancestry thing back and says, "Hi, I'm your sister, Cheyenne. I guess, right? Like, I hate to tell you this, but Dad passed away a week ago, and we're still kind of going through this. We have no idea what you're talking about." And she responded almost immediately. And while we're all on the phone, we're all three-wayed in on this phone call. And I'm like, she responded with super nice condolences. Like, I'm not trying to get in the way. And when you're ready to talk, like, I would love to sit down because I have a lot of questions, but take your time and grieve. And I'll give you my phone number, my address, whatever you need. And my sister's like, screw that, I'm calling her right now. I'm like, you're going to call her right now?
I don't know. I'll be honest. This is something that I literally cannot wrap my brain around.
Dude.
But there's no way I would not be able to immediately call.
So I was like, I'm super skeptical. I'm like, nope. You know, there's all these things going through my red flags. Like, and it's the timing is all it is. It's not the Ancestry thing. It's just, it's been a week exactly.
Yeah. And
people do these scams with death things, and you see it, you read about it all the time. And I'm just like, there's no way. So she calls and she talks to her for 2 hours, and she's convinced right away. My sister's like, it's her. Like, they met at a party. And so she had found her mom, I guess, like a few years ago after she had found out she did this. She just dove in, right? For her, like, I can't blame her because she's just figuring out her whole world shattered.
Yeah.
So she's trying to figure out her way. So she's just looking for answers, right? So we let my sister does it, and she's like, dude, it's her. Like, she just wants to know. And I'm like, and so my dad grew up with two dudes so it was like the three of them since they were like 8 or 10, I think. So every story they have as teenagers, they're together. There's no, like, they were inseparable. They're still friends to this day until my dad passed away. And they're both like, my sister called and talked to both of them. And one of them, he's like, you know, Cheyenne, the 70s was a great time to be alive. like, I don't remember anything. Like we were drugged out of our mind. Like, I have no idea.
He's definitely not eliminating the possibility.
Yeah, he's like, anything can be possible, but you need to ask the other friend because he was, of the three of us, he was usually the most sober, right? So he may remember. So it took a few days for him to actually call, but in the meantime, the guy did remember the name Renee, but he couldn't figure out how he knew it, he would know what she looked like or nothing. So meanwhile, this lady is sending my sister pictures of her mom, of her, and you can kind of see a resemblance, right? But you're kind of like, and again, I'm like, nope. Like, my wife was like, no way. It's too, like, there's just the timing is wrong. Yeah. So we're just kind of, I'm like, so here I am trying to grieve my father, right? And grief's a word that we use, but I knew it was coming. But it was still just trying to, and now I'm like, you have a half sister. So we find out she grew up her whole life in New York. She lived 40 years in New York.
Wow. Like,
dude, I guess they flew here, picked her up on a closed adoption, flew back, right?
Wow.
So she's been in New York all the time. Well, she moved to Arizona because after she had found out that she's got family here, and I think she was always wanting to, and her husband, I guess, wanted to move here at some point or move some states, so they picked Arizona. Come to find out, she lives in Buckeye.
Oh, so pretty close to you, my friend.
Yeah, and here I am, and I'm reading this. I'm at work in downtown Phoenix, and I'm like, dude, this is insane. Like, I'm like, nope, I'm not, I just can't do it. And my brother, so this is all happening Tuesday, right? Tuesday and Wednesday. My brother calls her on Tuesday or Wednesday night and has a conversation with her on the phone. And my brother's not the most talkative. Like, he's pretty mellow, but even he called and was like, I talked to her for like almost an hour. Like, I'm pretty sure like she's like, it's hard to not like, it's just like, there's an instant like familiarity or connection there.
Yeah.
And I'm still like, no, they've texted her, they've called her. So I finally reach out and like at like 8:00 at night, and I'm like, look, and she knows what I do for work, and come to find out her husband's retired. He's a retired New York police officer for 25 years. And she was in law enforcement herself. And it's just I'm like, still, that doesn't mean that you're not just faking it, like to tell me to try to build credibility for yourself. So she, and so I message her and I'm like, hi, I'm Jason. I guess I'm your other brother, like whatever. Like, so dude. And so I tell, hey, I'm gonna be honest, I'm super skeptical of all this. I know the DNA is kind of a thing you can't really fake, but it just seems the timing and I don't know. I said, I don't want to talk to you on the phone. I don't want to text you. I want to meet you because you can't lie to me. Sitting across the table is a lot harder when I'm looking you in the face. So, and she was like, absolutely. Just tell me where. I live in Buckeye. I'll meet you anywhere you want. I don't care. Like, I'm just trying to find answers. I'm not trying to hurt anybody. And so we set to meet on Thursday. Right. So now, mind you, my brother and sister, the whole time they're like, how does it feel to be a middle child now, huh? And I'm like, dude, just stop.
Order, man.
Yeah, like I'm like, just stop. And they're like, no. And my brother's like, don't worry, I've been doing it for 30 years. I'll show you how it goes. Like, it's fine. I've got this down, and so they're eating it up, just kind of busting my chops the whole time. So I'm like, all up into this point, I'm like, no way. And you talk about uneasy. Like, I can't describe the feeling. Like, it's so surreal. Like there's no way. Like, this is stuff you read about in a book or on a magazine, or you're on you're at the airport and you're reading something that these people met, or a Hallmark movie, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So I'm like, there's just no way. So I'm still like, nope. And so I call my brother. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna have a meeting with her. And he's like, all right, I'll be your hype man. I'll call me in the morning. Like, don't back out. You got to do this for us because you're the closest one and you can figure this out right now. So I'm driving there, and we met at 10:00 on Thursday at Neaters out on the west side. And I'm driving there and I call and I'm like, is it too late to back out? Like, can I just not do this? I don't know if I want to. I don't deal well with emotion, right? And so I'm like, I just would rather like not deal with this right now. But I don't. I go, and dude, it's like immediately when I saw her, I'm like, yeah, this is probably true. Like, dude, it was crazy. I hugged her right away. And some of the listeners have seen that I'm not a small person, but my dad was not. Like, my dad is the last guy in a phone to light up you would ever pick up to be my dad.
Oh, I know. The pictures I've seen of you posting with your family, I'm always like, what the?
Yeah. And
how did that happen?
Allegedly, he's my biological father. So I'm not doing ancestry DNA. I don't need that nonsense. Like, I'm good. Ignorance is bliss. Like, I'm fine. Like, I don't want to know. But he's just, so she's built just like him. And I hugged her and she's like, I guess you're my little big brother. And I'm like, can we stop with this little brother thing? Like, I'm not used to that. Like, I'm the older brother. But so we went inside, we talked for 2 hours, and
holy cow,
dude, I'll tell you what, there's not a doubt in my mind. It's hard to say. I went into there almost wanting to be right about it not being correct. Right. And there were 2 different instances where she had turned to the side to look out the window while we were eating, and I could see my dad's profile very distinct. And it was emotional. It was like teary-eye emotional real quick. And then you gather yourself like, holy crap. Like, it's like, he's telling me right now that this is true. Like, this is no, but come to find out, he didn't know. Like, it was almost like it was a party thing. And I guess she lived with him for like a couple days, and something, whatever happened. And he had no idea he had her. No clue. She just up and left. The mom just up and left. So what's the lady's name? Your Renee.
Renee.
Renee's the mom of this whole thing.
Yeah. I was going to say Renee. So did Renee confirm all of this information to your
to my biological half sister? Yeah.
I'm calling her biological half sister because until she actually becomes a sister,
right? No,
it's blood.
So
and that's
it is. So she met her mom. She met Renee. I think she met her and then she died like 2 years later.
Oh, wow.
Renee was. I guess she'd lived a really hard life. That's why she gave her up for adoption, was because she didn't want her to have the life she was already into at a young age. So, she moved, she didn't have the kid, but she ended up having 2 more kids, I guess, but she was kind of in such bad health. It was hard to get information out of her. So she did not know my dad's name. She didn't know anything other than she met him in Arizona at a party in 1977. That's all she was able to really find out. So So meanwhile, like my sister, right? My biological sister here, which is so weird. My air quotes. Yeah. I need a video camera so you can see this. So she's digging in as much as possible, right? But she's coming into a bunch of dead ends, and she's reaching out to the other cousins on the list because she's just trying to find out who she is and who my dad is, because she found my mom, and she kept running out just nothing. Well, the problem is my dad was adopted at a young age. So the people like our blood relation, they don't even know my dad exists. Like I met my dad's dad one time before he passed away, and I was like 13, and that was 30 years ago, or 20 years ago, like I don't,
you're not 43.
I know I'm not there yet.
You're not 43.
I feel like I'm aging super fast over all this.
Yeah, dude, it's a freaking week, man.
So yeah, so I sat down with her, talked for 2 hours, and I guess that there's no doubt, but you talk about a whirlwind of emotion,
dude.
I don't even know how to explain it. Like it's crazy. And she is the nicest lady. She's educated. She comes from a really good little family in New York. Like, I think she's got a master's degree. Like she just, I'm like, you didn't take care of this. Oh, we got nothing over here. It's like, you're way ahead of the game. Like you fared out pretty good. Like, so, but she just, but there was I left there with no doubt anymore, as much as like I said, I didn't want to, but you just can't believe this could happen to you.
Dude. I have 2 instances in which people have told me a similar story, and I don't have permission to share either one, but dude, I want to have those people on here to talk to you, because when I remember when they told me, not the same story. When I say similar, it's more like a unknown family secret that came to light as adults, when they're like, holy crap, like, yeah, that changes so many things. But they were able to get a lot more answers for theirs, because one, the parents are still around. For you, I can't even imagine what this is like, because this is, again, the timing.
Yeah,
and the timing is absurd.
It is weird. Like both my brother and my sister remember having a conversation with my dad at different times with the name Renee, about a girl back in the day, right? But there was never, like, my dad didn't know. Like, there's no way. He's just not the type of guy. He was a hopeless romantic at heart. Like, he was always sweet to my kids and my wife and my mom. Like, there was never any like if he knew he had a kid, he was just not the type to be away from it, right? Yeah. But and he would joke and stuff. But they both had heard about. But again, like, you're talking about a guy who's on like the way out, and he's just kind of reminiscing about things, or goofing around, or teasing my sister about not being the only daughter, kind of joking and stuff. But here we are.
Yeah, because dude, everybody has the joke of, well, I hope that's all the kids I have.
Right. Every Father's Day that goes by without a father's card in the mail, it's a win, right?
I mean, every time you heard people like, how many kids you got? 4 that I know of. And it's like, most of the time you're talking to guys like, dude, you're as straight as an arrow. Don't be playing that game.
That's my brother. He's like, bro, I'm not doing ancestry DNA, bro. That's the last thing I need is ding alert, ding alert, ding alert.
But dude, for real, that is truly crazy.
Yeah, it's been.
So like, what now? Like she's just exists, or
so dude. So we're on a group text now, and she's very like, she texts me out of the blue after I think it was before we had agreed to meet, or it was when we agreed to meet but hadn't met yet. She was like, okay, I gotta know, Die Hard, Christmas movie or not? And I was like, I'm not a savage. Like, it's absolutely a Christmas movie.
It is absolutely not.
No, we were not having this conversation.
It is absolutely not a Christmas movie.
Listen, this podcast is going to go on, but we're going to talk about this as a whole. No.
Hey, you know what? That's another segment we'll do. Movie disagreements. We'll have that later. Right now, so your answer was what? Obviously,
yes. It was,
and hers was.
And hers was yes. She goes, okay, so good. We're related. We're family. And so she just asks questions like, Rand, like, what's your favorite color? Like, what? She just wants to know where the similarities are, And so, but it's been, I don't know. It's here we are. It's Friday night. I just met her yesterday, and dude, it is like it's just that. Like, and her husband, I'll tell you, like, he is just like like if you picture a cop from like 1995 in a movie from New York, he is that guy. Like, I was spent so much time wanting to talk to him. We almost be like, hey, wait, let's derail. I'm here to talk to her. Like, but he's got
solid mustache and everything.
Oh, bro, he's got the accent. He's got the stories. When he shook my hand, it was like he was like out wide, like a New York handshake.
Yeah, like a bird fin. Yeah, penguin fin out here coming in.
Dude, it was awesome. I was like, dude, we hit it off immediately. We're just talking immediately, and so. But so right now we're like, I think she's actually we're trying to figure out a time where we can all 3 meet. My sister's kids having a birthday party down here at my house, and I think she's going to come to that and just kind of, just jump in, I guess. Like, she's super in, like, she's putting herself out there. Like, and the whole time we have our perspective of this thing, right? It's crazy, right? But I can't imagine how she feels.
Yeah.
And I kept that in my head as much as I wanted to be like, no. this lady is putting herself out there to people, people she don't even know, in search of what I feel is like a connection to something I think she was missing her whole life and just couldn't explain it until now it makes sense. And she has, like, dude, it's like, she's super nice. It's just, she's my sister, and it's crazy. Dude, it is crazy.
And I keep shaking my head and sighing, and like, I'm like, because I'm literally at a loss. I don't even know what to say. Because that is truly, like you said, this is a movie you're living right now.
Yeah.
It's movie stuff.
Nuts. And it's like I said, I plan on, I'll keep this whole thing updated for anybody listening that wants to know, because there's no way that you can hear this and be like, yeah, that's not interesting. I feel like I would want to listen to this, because it's like, it is a real life thing. And that's, my wife was like, are you sure you want to talk about it on the podcast? I'm like, yeah, I do, because I want this show to be real. Yeah. As much as we talk about sports and all this stuff, like, I don't like the fake crap that you hear. And this makes this real. Like, this is my life. I'm putting it out there and I don't care. I'll leave her name out of it, but I'm telling you right now, it is crazy real.
Well, and I'll validate your decision here by saying it's also really interesting. It's not real dumb. No, right. It's not real boring. This is like I said, this is truly some, one of the phrases I absolutely hate. This is a phrase I hate so much. You hear it in sports broadcasts. You hear it in regular everyday language all the time when people say, you can't make this stuff up.
Yeah.
You couldn't write this. It's like literally happens all the time.
Right.
They write this stuff all the time.
Right.
It happens all the time.
Yep.
But it doesn't change it being crazy.
Yeah.
It's like, you think of the craziest movie you've ever watched, like, holy crap, somebody thought of this. And this call back to episode 1 when we talked about serial killers and stuff like that. The reason why I can't watch that, I can't follow it, is because it's real. Yeah. Even if it's a made up, fake story about something, that came from
facts are real.
Yeah, that came from something real. Somebody got this idea from a real thing, which is just crazy. I'm not trying to compare you.
No,
what just happened
it's funny
to a serial killer. But what I'm saying is like, even though you could write this story, it doesn't make it less interesting. This is a very, like, this is something that, like I said, you're dealing with right now. This is nuts.
This currently is like, it is like, I still, like, I haven't slept all week, and it's just, you just don't, my mind doesn't stop. Like, you think about all the things, like all these things, like for her, that now she's like, again, I keep going back to how she felt. Like, that's what I can't imagine. We have the different emotions to this thing. We have different feelings, but the severity is the same on both sides. It's just different. So she's got her end of the spectrum, and I'm on the other side, like crazy person trying to reach out to me, like, no way, and she's just wanting to find somebody that she can relate to that's blood now, because everything she's ever known is not true in that sense, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's, dude, I don't. My wife's like, well, how do you feel? And I'm like, I don't know how to feel. Like, what do you want me to say? Like, I don't know how to put word into words. Like, dude, you talk about serial killers, dude. She loves serial killer stories, dude. So I'm like, oh, great. We're definitely related, dude. Like, that's not I got that gene too, because I can sit and listen to those all the time. And so again, we're just trying to figure out like little things about each other where like, oh, that makes sense, or this mannerisms or something. Like, when we get all four of us, that's a weird thing to say too.
I was going to say, your numbers have to change.
Yeah. And I'm a middle child. I still can't believe it.
Dude, that is truly, I'm not going to say earth shattering or shaking, but it is life altering.
Yeah.
That is something that really will change. Like you said, like the fact that you can't refer to yourself as the oldest anymore.
No.
Even though for all intents and purposes, you are the oldest.
Right.
Because again, for all intents and purposes, did not exist until now.
No.
She grew up in her own family. I'm assuming either only child or oldest.
I think she had a sister.
Okay. So oldest child in her family. So, not to take away from her existence in that previous family, like you said, she's looking for this connection. And also, one of the things that's super important to know is what health challenges might somebody experience based on genetics. Like, if you don't know the family history.
So this is what she's really interested in, because she has some medical conditions, nothing crazy, just some autoimmune stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I have a niece that is going through some of that stuff, and we can't figure out. None of us in our family have had it, but now I meet this lady she's got them. And she's been trying to figure out this entire time, why she can't figure out where this is coming from, because in her family, right, air quotes there,
Right.
there's none of these symptoms. Well, of course not, because that's not your family bloodline.
Yeah,
So
completely different genetic.
yeah, completely genetic. So like, it's just been this whole thing where like that came up, like, because she's wanting to know, like, do you have any allergies, or there's things that like maybe that I can say, oh, well, I'm allergic, or I have that problem too. And so it's just been, I don't know, man. It is, I can't explain the craziness. It's just in a good way, right?
Yeah.
It's a very cool thing, and I feel for it. Like, it sucks that she missed my dad by a week,
Yeah.
you know, or our dad by a week, and I feel for her for that. She's just, because she tried for so long and almost just gave up because it just kept waiting and waiting, she kept running into dead end after dead end, and now we get this DNA thing, dude, and it's like, wow.
So here's a supernatural question,
Okay.
because this is the stuff that I believe, and you know, not everybody has to, but what are your thoughts on inspiration and the timing to make your dad take that test or give him the gift of the DNA? Because did he see the results of it before he passed?
Nope. He has no idea. He literally didn't even. They didn't even come in. So my dad passed away on that last Monday, the 15th. They didn't come in until the 21st.
Okay, so I mean that's
No
so
idea.
That's why I asked the question, because it's like, okay, clearly in my brain, again, this is my belief, that you guys were thinking, hey, we should do this for dad, and we need to do it now. Not that you felt an urgency like it has to be done now, because you didn't know what was going to happen
Yeah,
in 3
no
weeks.
idea. Yep.
So, okay, let's do it now. It'd be a cool Christmas present. Who knows? Maybe it's something cool that comes back. Maybe he finds out, where his ancestry line comes from.
Right.
Which, by the way, where does it come from?
It's German and Sweden.
I was actually going to say, is it Germanic?
Yep.
Is that how you say that? Germanic?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, Germany and Sweden.
German and Sweden is most of it. But.
So, by the way, fellow Swede,
Hey, what's up? Yes.
Swedish and English over here,
There you
baby.
go.
But so I mean, now that he doesn't know that stuff, and that's all new information for you guys, again, for your new biological half sister, if you guys had not done that at that time, she would have never found out.
No, and
Because who else was going to put that
No one.
that test out there? Because like I said, you're not doing it.
no, I'm not doing it. Definitely not doing it now.
For me, it's also, I've only ever wanted to do it just to see how Swedish I am,
Right.
versus how English I am. I know that I'm mostly
Right.
English and Scottish, but it's like, okay, they always give you a percentage. My wife did one where it wasn't for her ancestry, but it was to see what food, what's the word that she always used? Sensitivities, I'll say.
Oh, yeah.
The things that she's sensitive to or intolerant of. She did one of those, and it's like changed everything. She completely changed her diet, because she's like, oh crap, I can't eat eggs.
Oh,
Eggs
that
are
would
not
be
good for me?
devastating
Dude,
for me.
everything has
Nope,
eggs.
I would never. I wouldn't even want to know. See, I wouldn't take that test because I fear that knowledge right there. Bro. I eat like 8 eggs at a time, dude. There's no way.
But here's the thing, though. It's not going to stop you, because
I'm still going.
There are certain things that where you eat it where it alters your stomach
Yeah.
chemistry.
Basil right here. Yep, basil.
So there are things that it's like, okay, that's going to affect me. But other things that if you didn't know eggs affected you and you had a sheet of paper that said it, you'd be like, yeah, no, it doesn't. I'm
no,
fine.
it doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. I'm fine.
good.
I'm
I'm
keeping
good.
the eggs.
Never.
But anyway, so like I said, that's this is crazy, man. This is crazy.
and this is where, like, so I've told some guys at work, because and my boss and everybody's just like, dude, like they can't believe that this is happening to somebody they know. Like, you hear about these things happening because it happens all the time. I'm not the only person this has ever happened to. The Ancestry DNA has been connecting a lot of people. I've found out that I've got close family friends that are going through the same thing, but it has to do with somebody having a kid that they didn't know about, so, and they're still alive, and, or some other stuff. So it's happening all over, but I'm just like, dude, I didn't think it would happen to me. Like I just, when we did, when you take that test or somebody, that's the last thing you think of, right? Like, you're not
I'm
thinking
going
of,
to find out I have a kid that lived in New York its entire life. And and at this moment is actually reaching out and trying to find me.
yeah. And my dad would have been like, and my dad would have loved it. And I'm sure, like, I'm a believer that he's looking down. I think he was sitting with us that day, right?
Yeah.
We're not here to push beliefs, but I'm a person that I don't care what you believe, just believe in something, right? So,
Yeah.
and I felt like he was sitting right there with us, just like wishing he could partake in that conversation, because that's the type of guy he was. He loved his kids, he loved his grandkids, and it was something where I think if he knew, even the way in his condition he was in, we would have found a way to get her up to meet him.
Yeah.
Just because we knew how far advanced this was and how much we never knew, right? Yeah. Every time he woke up, he would literally be like, well, I made it another day. Like, that's where he knew, right? So, but yeah, it's been a week, bro. Like, I haven't slept. I don't sleep. I just don't know what to think. Like your mind, and it's not that I'm like paranoid about it or like I'm uneasy. It's just, how do you calm your mind down when you wrap around your mind that you've got, I mean, like your whole life just got flipped upside down because dad passed away, and now it's like flipped back upside again. Like, how does it work? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, because you can't say it came back around because
it's
definitely not the same. This two-sided coin just turned into three sides, and I have no idea which side we're on anymore.
Yeah, I'm like, I have no idea.
Dude, that is crazy. Because like I say, for me, I'm trying to wrap my brain around it, and I'm trying to find ways that to connect it with me, and I have none. So I have 3 adopted siblings, right? I'm from a huge family.
Yeah.
I have 3 officially adopted siblings, and then I have 2 that I say are my sisters, but they're not officially my sister. They just have been around my family so much that they even refer to my mom and dad as mom and dad. They come to family events. They're in family pictures.
Just because they're not blood doesn't mean they're not family.
Exactly.
Right?
So I'm trying to mind. I'm like, okay, so how do I'm like, I got nothing. I always thought that my family was pretty unique in the way that ours is set up, but I got nothing, man.
I was fine. Now I'm super. And then, like I get this email today from Ancestry that says, "Hey, want to make your tree bigger?" I'm like, bro, can we hang on?
It
like,
just got huge.
I'm like, can I deal with the one I just found out? This branch that I just found out?
I had
like,
no idea this existed.
No, I'm not trying to make it grow. I'm like, delete that email, bro. Like, I'm not dealing with you right now.
No, that, but I mean, she's approaching 50.
Yeah,
right? Because
she's 45.
Okay, 45. So she's approaching, dude. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so and how many, does she have kids of her own?
Nope, she's got no kids, and I think I'm not sure why. We didn't get into much of that. Most of the questions was about dad. I'm sure that'll let her come, and she just wanted to know what he looked like. I showed her sharing pictures of. She's never really seen, since most of the pictures of my dad. So like I had to tell her, I'm like, dad always had a mustache. Like I'd never seen my father without a mustache ever. In 38 years almost, right?
Yeah.
And so every photo she's ever seen, he's always had like a hat on and sunglasses, because my dad wanted to be burned with his hat and sunglasses. Like, and it's just a baseball cap, bro. It ain't like it's some, fedora or something crazy. It's just an Alpine fire.
Way better that it's a baseball cap and not a fedora, by the way.
It's nothing crazy, but my brother kept it. But she's like, do you have a picture that without that? And I'm like, well, yeah, let me look. So I was able to find one when I was like 1. It was like the first family picture we ever took. So that's my dad, like at his youngest portion that I can find. And I'm sure there's more. So but it was just, yeah, dude, it's so weird. And I can't explain the feeling of knowing, like, I just know that, like, that's definitely blood. Like the way she looked to the side, bro, it was so emotional, and I hate emotion, bro. I will bury it with ice and darkness, bro. I hate it. Outside of my kids and my wife, like I don't want to deal with it. Like it's just easier not to do. That's just my own deep problems, right? But it was so hard to deny that in that moment. And it happened twice. And it was like my dad was sitting there next to me, just like, it's real. So, yeah.
Man, I people are going to get sick of me saying I don't know what to say, because I really am just blown away by this, man. Yeah. This is both crazy and so cool.
It's very cool. It's like, it's cool to be a part of a story like this. And I hope, like, it seems like this is going to be a cool thing moving forward. And, I'm not like, I think she's tried to reach out to some other people, and she's kind of been hitting some walls, and maybe just because of maturity or young or whatever it is. But like, I'm all like, hey, we're family now. Like if this is all true, like we'll do it in chunks, because I'm not, but you can get as much of us as you want. And I told her, I'm like, dude, they're not exactly the most like I come from a crazy weird family. There's some stuff my brother and sister and I, like, it's just different. We grew up different. We grew up in the middle of nowhere. Like it's just, we have our own fun and games, and now she just wants to be a part of it. And I refuse to deny her that, because I can't imagine how she feels again. So
So was she New York City, New York?
Yeah.
Oh,
she lives right outside of Manhattan, I think.
Okay, so yeah, when you say completely different lives, I challenge you to find 2 more disparate places in the United States than Vernon, Arizona,
absolutely,
and New York City, New York. It could not be any more opposite in almost every respect.
Yeah, for sure. Like concrete jungle to just Vernon,
Alpine mountains,
the boonies, bro. Like out in the middle of nowhere where you're just kind of plains and pine trees. There's nothing.
Well, shoot, dude, that's amazing.
So that's why I didn't want to tell you. I was like, as soon as I found out, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be. I got to talk about it, but I can't tell her because I wanted to see what your reaction was live.
Like I said,
you can't fake this. Like it's Like, I'm not like, your wife didn't know. My wife's probably telling her right now, but there's very few people within the circle that know up until now. And it's just, and they all have the same reaction. Like, I don't know what to say, but it's so cool, but it's just, wow. Like, wow, know?
Yeah, that's it. This is also going to sound really stupid to me to say, but it's really, really good that you found out that it wasn't something outside of the marriage during the marriage.
Yeah,
so it's like, okay, you know what? Dad was young. Dad was at a party. Dad was, living his life.
Living the 70s, buddy.
As his buddy said, the 70s were a great time,
Yep.
doing his thing. So, I mean, it's like, okay, you know what? Didn't find this out because, she's not my age.
Right. No,
right?
Yeah.
Say 9 years older than me. So yeah, there's going to be a gap here.
Yeah, my mom and dad married 2 years before I was born. So like they weren't even together. And there's not. So yes, that is a positive, right? And I feel not for anybody that's had that happen, right? That's just another element of this whole situation people have to deal with. But I don't have that, so I'm fortunate that way. So, and I think I think it was my wife or somebody, my sister maybe. Somebody asked like what they think. What would mom think if she was alive and my dad had passed and we'd found this out? And I think my mom, like just talking to her for the 2 hours, my mom and her would have hit it off really well. And my mom would have, but it wasn't when it was with my mom. So what's she going to kill? It's just another sibling, it is what it is, right? You can't deny it.
I would say that's one of those things where I've never met your mom. I've only ever heard you talk about her as well as other people that have met her talk about her. And I'm like, it's kind of one of those things where I'm like, you probably would have opened her both arms, big embrace, welcome to the family.
My mom cussed like a sailor, but she had a heart of gold, man. She just she'd bring anybody in unless you crossed her. Oh, I don't want to be on the back of that, but yeah, no, but I think so. It would have been interesting if even she was alive and my dad wasn't, or even if dad would have made it a week longer, right?
Yeah.
Like just hey, get up here, like it's bad, but if you want to say something now, but no, but I mean, maybe, there's talks about, you got to lose an angel to gain an angel. You got to lose, situations happen to gain other things. So,
yeah,
it works out and hopefully we can move forward and have a good relationship and she can be big sister. It's so weird.
Yeah.
So weird. It's so weird.
That is crazy. I mean, but also I'm looking at it from her perspective. I mean, again, she just gained a family. Like, how cool is that going to be for her?
And she's like, and I feel bad because I feel like she just has all these questions and we'll respond, but I feel like, do we need to ask more questions? But it's like, she's just so excited and I love it. And I feel like I need to speak more to her. Right. And it's not that I just don't know what to say. So I'm like, I don't know. I'm still trying to wrap my mind around this. And she's just super excited.
Here is a big question.
Uh-oh.
Is she a Giants fan?
No, it's funny. Oh, dude, totally. I said, listen, I had two questions. That was one of them. I swear. It's exactly what I asked for. It's funny you mentioned that. I absolutely asked that question, bro, through a text message before I met her, bro. I was like, I gotta know.
On the list of two things you could possibly ask, this is completely before now unknown sister. Wait a minute, you're from New York? Hold on, let's get this out of the way right now.
I gotta know, are you a Giants fan? And she's like, I really don't I don't care for football. She goes, I'm always a baseball fan, and her husband's a Chicago Bears fan, and I'm like, okay, I can live with that. Like, I'm good.
That's funny. Holy crap, I can't believe that.
Yeah.
It took me all the way until now to think of that. I mean, granted, because I don't have any hate for the Giants.
Oh yeah, bro.
That is hilarious that you were like, hold on a second.
I'm like, I hope she's a Jets fan because this is not going to be good, dude.
Oh, geez. Actually, that would have been great if she was a Jets fan. That would have been great. Because then she would have been totally good with any kind of disappointment that ever possibly happened in her life.
Right. Oh, yeah. And her husband's so New Yorker. He was like, first off, the Jets and the Giants, they're from Jersey, okay? Like, their stadium's in Jersey. The only real team in New York is Buffalo, Hey,
good for him.
Yeah,
good
he's like, but he's a Bears fan from the 85. He loves the 85 Bears, and that. But yeah, he was like, he's like, the Jets and the Giants, they're from Jersey, okay? And I'm like, wow, man. We should bring him on this show just to talk to him. It's like, I've never met somebody more New York in my life, dude. Like, it is just awesome. Insane.
I would love to have that.
Dude, he was a cop during 9/11 on a walking beat.
Oh, wow.
That would be something we could talk about too. That'd be cool to hear. Because he's a talker. He loves just to talk. And I think him and I hit it off. It was just instant, just relationship, just talking. But it would be cool to have a story of like a real life situation. Like, here, I was there. I worked it. I was in the middle of it. So he's some crazy. We talked about. We'd segue into some crazy stories and be like, hey, well, let's go back. But yeah, he's just.
Dude, I think it'd be awesome. I mean, it's also one of those things where that's going to be completely up to you because.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, that's a. I'm clearly, I don't have his phone number, so like I can ask him anyway.
Yeah.
But it's also like, hey, you take your time to be able to establish that relationship.
Yeah, no, someday that'll happen. I think because I don't, this show, like, that's why when we started this thing, I think we both had the same idea. We just want to be real. Like, we're not trying to do anything crazy, just fun to sit and talk. And I think we both have different perspectives of things, and each other, we live different lives. And here I am bringing in the first curveball, but it's, you'll get one. It's fine.
Well, okay. Well, if you want me to throw one out there,
let's hear a curveball.
I will throw this one out there, since this is already I'm not going to say heavy, but it's definitely different. It's definitely a different thing than what we've been doing. So, my grandma passed away last night.
Oh, I'm sorry.
She was 99.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah. And it was one of those things where when I got the text, there was a wave of relief, because it has been a very hard final week for grandma.
I understand that. Yeah.
And, so, I mean, like I said, 99 years old. How could you be sad or mad? I should say, not that I'm not sad. I'm definitely sad. How could you be mad when they pass on? Especially because she was in a lot of pain. But the reason why I bring that up is so. First off, screw you, Kevin, for making me love Welcome to Wrexham. By the way,
gosh.
Okay. So if any of you don't know what this is, Welcome to Wrexham is I'll say a docuseries, but it's in real time, of Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds' purchase of a European English football club, aka soccer team, in Wales. Wrexham is the town.
Okay.
And Wrexham is the name. Wrexham AFC is the name of the soccer club. And they do a really good job on the show. It's very, very well told, and it tells the story of them trying to build this team up to get them promoted into the higher leagues of English football.
And it's true.
It's true. It's happening in real time.
Like going on right now.
So they shows that at the start, how they start to buy the team, how they find out about the team, and how they can slowly build the team. Right now, I finished. I'm not going to spoil anything because it's really good. Yeah. It's really good. But what the thing that they do a really good job is telling people stories. Because ultimately, that's one of the things I love about sports is they are people stories.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. And one of the things they harp on a ton, specific to this team, is how it is it's a community touchstone. Everybody in the community has some connection to it, and it's hugely important to them to have a successful team in their town. It's almost just like I would probably compare it to high school football in small towns.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Right, because like when you have a good football team, you're so invested in how they're doing. You want to know
exactly how you feel. I played on that team in a small Cholo town. I know exactly.
And what's crazy is, like, for me, that was what Higley High School was when I went there. Now it's a huge school in the middle of a massive community. But when I went there, it was a brand new school in the middle of agricultural fields. So I kind of feel like I have a similar, not the same, but a similar reference there. So anyway, they focus in on tons of different people inside the town. And one of the ones that they focused in on, and I was watching this last night, was a football player on the team who, and this is always a hard thing for me to talk about because it's something I also experienced. And when we talk about emotion, you said that you bury it with, what was it? You said cold and darkness.
Yes,
ice and darkness.
Ice and dark place, dude. Yeah.
For me, I'm a total op. I am a free crier. I am very emotional on things like that.
You wear your emotions on your sleeve.
I can't hide them. If I tried, I can't. And so anyway, my wife and I, we lost a son.
Yeah.
And it's very hard for me to talk about.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure.
Give me a second here. So it's one of those things that if I ever see that depicted or talked about by anybody that's actually experienced it, I'm going to lose my mind immediately.
I can imagine. Yeah.
And one of the players on the team, he and his wife went through that. And they're showing it on the episode. And dude, I'm by myself sitting in bed with a cookie on a plate, sobbing.
I'm not laughing. It's the cookie part, bro. It's the image.
Trust me, I put it in there to lighten it up because if I go to, I will start, I'll get there. So anyway, I'm sitting there and I'm sobbing. Shalay's not with me. My wife is not with me because she's coaching volleyball. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's just me.
You're an emotional teenager right now during Shark Week, bro. That's what they feel the whole time.
So I mean, but it's like, it was one of those things where it was the way that they presented it, talked about it, did it. It was a very well done job, very well done. And it was one of those things where like I immediately felt a connection with this team and player who I've never seen or met before in my life. I never watched a game of theirs, but I mean, like, hey, I know that feeling.
You can relate. It's relatable.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know how hard that is to get through. And anyway, so So that happened last night. I wake up this morning to a text from my mom that my grandma had passed away. And I'm on the treadmill. I'm doing my thing in the morning. And then my kids come in the morning because my wife had told them that great grandma had passed away. And they wanted to come and see how their dad was taking it.
Right.
So they come in and I have no idea what they're doing. I didn't know that Shalay had told them. So I'm, on the treadmill, I'm doing my thing. And then, I'm sweating like crazy. And my daughter says, "Are you okay?" I was like, "I'm okay." And then my son starts to get the cry face and says, "Great grandma died." And I was like,
oh, that gets you, bro. When your kids start crying, bro.
Oh, I know.
Oh my God.
Especially about something that I'm already kind of like, I'm going through it this morning. I found out. I'm like, okay, we're feeling good, and it should be, I had already bought tickets to go to the funeral days ago because it was so,
you knew it was that close.
We were already very prepared for it. So, and then I get off the treadmill, I'll go over and I give him a big hug and I'm like, "Guys, it's okay. It's okay. Grandma's going to be all right. It's been a really hard, run for her. So she's going to be okay." And then when I'm eating lunch, I'm watching Welcome to Wrexham again. And they're doing an episode on a guy he finds out his son has been diagnosed with autism at 3.5 years old.
Oh, shoot.
And he's another football player on the team. And every time he starts to talk about it, he chokes up. So I'm like, "Oh my gosh, what the
Where's my cookie? I need a
cookie. Dude. So I'm just like, because it was all hitting me. And I text my wife. I'm like, "Babe, I need a hug right now. When I come home, I need a hug because it is happening all at once." And she's like, "Is it all about grandma?" I'm like, "Not just grandma.
This show
It's killing me. It's so freaking well done. And it's hit me at all the right moments with all the right things. And I'm like, oh.
So it's been a week for both of us. See, it's
for completely different reasons.
Right, but it's been a bad 2 weeks, bro. It's just been crazy.
It is funny though, because when you told me that you bury your emotions with ice and sadness and darkness, that's still so funny to me. That phrase is going to be great. I just think about like how different you and I are and how this is going to work because of that. Because again, Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. Die Hard just happens to take place.
Stop. You and my wife should have your. How does Shalay feel about this?
Well, first off, I would be shocked if she's ever seen Die Hard. I would be shocked if she's seen Die Hard.
Well, she's on friendship timeout then, bro. Because I mean, that's pretty heavy, bro.
Okay. But I would also be absolutely blown away if she had seen it and thought, "Oh, this is a Christmas movie."
Okay, so let me ask you this. Since we're talking about Christmas movies, and we have gone way off the rails here, dude, but it's relevant. It all ties together. Home Alone, Christmas movie or not?
Absolutely a Christmas movie.
How? It's the same premise. It happened during Christmas.
What is mom trying to do the entire time? Get home to her son.
And she wouldn't do that if it was July?
Or she probably would.
Exactly. But I believe it's a Christmas movie, but there's no difference in Die Hard. It's still a Christmas movie. He's there at a Christmas party.
He's at a Christmas party, and that is the extent to which
they literally say mentioned. "Ho, ho, ho" on a guy's shirt in the elevator.
No. Dude, if we were to sit down and we were to watch both these movies, I would love to count and tally how often Christmas is mentioned or depicted in Home Alone versus Die Hard. And I guarantee you,
I feel like that's irrelevant.
It's a big part of it. Okay, where does Kevin go when he's sad? He goes to the church to listen to the children sing in the Christmas choir.
They're in a choir. It doesn't mean it's Christmas. Just because they're singing Christmas movie doesn't make them Christmas choir.
Okay, when he's running away from the wet bandits, where does he hide? In a nativity scene. I mean, dude, it's Christmas.
Okay, Liz, first off, I agree with you. Home Alone is a Christmas movie.
I know what you're trying to say.
Perfect.
You're trying to hold that against me and say, well, because Die Hard's a Christmas movie.
But it's the same. I'm sorry. It's a Christmas movie.
Disagree.
All right, fine.
Well, you know what? We'll just have to agree to disagree on this one.
It's fine.
Unless we want to
we're gonna put up a poll. And so we're going to settle this.
We can do a scientific method and actually come up with it. Well, the problem with polls is you're going to get people that think your way, people think my way. It's going to be totally skewed.
It's going to be crazy.
Anyway, well, again, as I said, well, screw you, Kevin. Welcome to Wrexham's way too good, and it's really absolutely killing me. And dude, yeah, I'm going to say this. Keep us updated on what happens.
Oh, for sure.
Because this is,
it's.
I can tell you. When you told me you wanted to have a show and you wanted to do it on a different day, and you would say, "Hey, there's stuff going on we got to talk about." This would not have been on a list of 100 items that I thought was possibly coming.
No,
not even close.
Not even close. No. even if I would have told you we got an ancestry DNA test back, I don't think this is your first thing. I think you're like, well, who you related to, or like, or did you find out you had like like somebody that maybe you were famous and related to, right? Like nothing.
Dude,
like
what I would have thought is, oh wait, so you're from Jerusalem?
Yeah,
Like, to the extent with which I thought so.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not a European. You're not European. You're from the Middle East.
Yeah,
you're Russian.
Crazy.
Like, that's the extent to which I would have thought.
Never would you have thought half sister, and out of nowhere, like one that I didn't know about, my dad didn't know about,
was never mentioned,
never talked about, nothing.
Never a possibility.
No, like we just completely blindsided by this whole. I mean, I was anyway. My sister and brother might have been a little bit more in the know of like maybe, but no way did we think about it. Like that would have been a conversation at Christmas we had at some point, right? Like just joking around, right? Like no, but it's never been a thing ever.
Yeah,
and it comes out of left field, and I'm like, okay, let's go. And I'm very happy. Like it's weird to say it. It's still really fresh, so it's still strange, and dealing with it. But it's a cool thing, and I really hope it goes the right direction. And she seems like the type that's going to be like, we're gonna now I have family down here, and for Christmas, like stuff we can do together, and she's going to want to be involved, and I think she's going to attach. My kids are going to attach to her pretty good, and just so again, she's just looking for a connection, a family, and we'll give it to her. She's, and that's something that without a doubt, my brother, sister, we're all a lot closer now than we ever have been, and then. I don't think we're gonna have a hard time at all getting her in and making her feel comfortable. Because again, from her point of view, I can't imagine how she feels.
Yeah,
I just can't.
And I think what you just said about the way you guys are trying to handle it, I think that is the right thing to do. Is what I mean, definitely not the right thing is to push her away and say, hey, you're not a part of this. It's like, no, hey, listen, bring it in.
And unfortunately, she's getting that from the mom side, from family, and that's where I think she's just. That maybe she was worried about it. And I think that's also why she was so easy to kind of jump in with us, is because she's been through the emotional part already. That part was with the other side where it's like, well, what have I got to lose? It's the worst case scenario on one side. I mean, what's going to happen? I have two worst case scenarios. At least I know how I'm going to feel. And in this case, we're not like that. So I'm hopeful. And I know she's like, her mind has just got to be racing about all these questions and all these things. And I think she wants to try to catch up on photos. Because what do we have now? We've got photos and video, and that's really it for her, and it sucks, but she's got us, and there's just going to be I think there's going to be some growing there for sure for all of us. So it'll be good.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. Well, I really have no idea how to close this one out other than to say, hey, if you are somebody out there that has a story that you want to share similar to this, reach out to it. We'll figure out how to get two people on this, more than two people on the show at some point.
We're still in the beginning phases, but I did find some stuff I sent you with some extra stuff to do because I reached out to somebody that works at XM.
Oh, okay.
So that website I sent you was all about that.
Okay, well, I'll have to check that out. Because when I looked at it, I was like, okay, I'm looking at this stuff, and I started looking up other things, and I was like, holy crap, this is expensive stuff to do. But anyway, all right, well, hey, dude, I hope everybody found that to be as interesting as I did, because again, I was hearing it for the first time, just like you're going to be hearing it for the first time. That was...
And I will keep you in the loop with it as it goes. I mean, this is daily. It's just new stuff every day, and I think it'll be like that for a while, just kind of dealing with the emotions of it all. But I mean, we're still going to talk. We'll still get together on Sunday and we'll talk our sports, because we just watched the Suns get lost a game at the end. Dude. And we could talk about that right now, but it's just,
I'm not going to, only because I want to see what the last 2-minute report says on that fourth quarter, because that was just absurd.
It was bad.
So, anyway, Devin Booker, you're a freaking legend. I love you, dude.
Dude, he is a stud.
All right, guys. Well, as JJ said, we are going to be back on Sunday to talk about the NFL championship games. It's going to be deciding who goes to the Super Bowl. And like I said, Devin Booker and his amazing 62-point performance that ended in a terrible loss.
Unfortunately.
And, if anything else that comes up in between now and then, we'll talk about it then.
I think Luka dropped 73 tonight, too.
He did. I freaking hate that guy so much. I can't stand that guy.
I wonder what would have happened if we didn't. Can you imagine him and Booker on the same team?
Oh, trust me. I've tried to think about this. I've tried to think about this a lot. And every single time I think about it, I'm like, I think I'd still hate him. I do.
No, you wouldn't. You're such a Suns fan. There's no way.
No. I cannot stand the way he plays basketball. I'm not saying he's not good. I want everybody to understand that. Luka Doncic is an amazing basketball player. He has the potential to be this generation's GOAT. And I say this generation because each generation has its own
era. Yeah.
It's stupid to argue who's greater than who, because you never see these guys play against each other in their primes.
And
So,
the game is so much different.
It's so much different.
It changes so much generation. So I can agree with for sure. As much as we'll argue about who the GOAT is, I'm sure like the reality is you're right. There's different eras have different GOATs, and
Exactly.
they're all great basketball players. It's just, do I want a Bulls jersey on? Do I want a Lakers jersey on? Do I want a Cleveland Cavaliers jersey? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't really matter. They're all great basketball players.
Doesn't mean we're not going to argue about it quite a bit, because it definitely is going to happen.
Yeah, for sure. Because I have a firm belief. I know who my GOAT is, but I don't know if it's the same as yours.
You know, I actually think we probably find out it's the same, but we're going to hold that conversation for another time, possibly Sunday. Maybe we'll put together some arguments and put it like a court hearing for you guys on Sunday. So until then, everybody have a great evening.
Yeah, and like 2 kids in dodgeball, we're out.
Stay fresh, cheese bags.